My background as an interviewer actually started in high school. I interviewed Ray Bradbury for my high school newspaper. I had seen him speak many times. He was a god to me, and the guy who was responsible for me to start writing Sorry, Ray, in your memory. So I did that for a long time as a journalist, but it was always a journalist in the arts. It was always about music, later about film. And so when I was struggling to make a go as a screenwriter, I contacted the Z Channel, which was the first pay TV channel in Los Angeles, and talked to a guy named Hal Kaufman, who was the program director at the time, and I asked him about the possibility of doing interviews in the science fiction, fantasy, and horror genre. And in the meantime, I was writing articles for the Z Channel magazine about the movies that they would show. And he came back and said, okay, put together a list of movies and who the guests would be, and let's see if we can do it. I learned about calling publicists, I learned about calling agencies and the like, making all these calls. I didn't have a staff. It was just this, goofy, naive kid who had no idea that there was a way to do this. But I would actually get an answer. Steven Spielberg came on my show, my little $100 show. These were just people I was fascinated by. These were movies I loved. I wasn't thinking this is an explosive time in cinema history that, Spielberg's just coming off of the recut of Close Encounters and Landis has just made An American Werewolf in London. I wasn't thinking, you're living in it at the time. There is no historical context to it. But these were the people I was so drawn to who were making the movies that excited me and the kinds of movies that I hoped to be involved in a future that was not too far off. Amazing Stories was the big step in my career, the first real step. And that came out of having worked with Spielberg, having done the interview that he enjoyed, being brought back to do another interview with him for Indiana Jones, and then doing the making of The Goonies. He was saying, oh, you're doing a lot of these making ofs, right? I said, well, I'm trying to do less now. I'm trying to make a go of it as a writer. His people then read a sample script that my agents had gotten to the company, and it gave me an opportunity to show what I could do as a writer, and they really liked it. And I ended up being the first person hired to write an episode of Amazing Stories from one of Steven's story ideas. It's an old tale by now, but I went from being on food stamps at the time to having a job in an office on the Universal lot working for Steven Spielberg and writing scripts that were directed by Robert Zemeckis and Martin Scorsese and eventually myself. It's amazing how fortunate I've been to do this.